Alright, welcome to part 2 of my new series while I break down each and every generation of Pokemon, starting at 1, going all the way to Gen 9, where I talk about how good each generation is in competitive Pokemon. Today, right now, we talk about Gen 2. Now, off bat, like off the rip, I think Gen 2 is probably near the bottom. As you have probably have guessed, and if you have been following me for a long time, I have consistently shitted on Gen 2 because of how bad this Pokédex is. It's really fucking weak. But there are some highlights. There are some good ones. And it's especially like in the legendary category. Like there's some really good legendaries. Tyranitar is the sand fucking Pokemon. It is the sand stream Pokemon. Like T-Tar is one of the best pseudos just because it's a fucking weather Pokemon. It is the sand Pokemon. Like that's definitely really good. Scizor has been good in a lot of formats, a lot of like regional smaller formats. Scizor has been used even in Gen 9, like when the game first came out. Scizor was still really used just because Bullet Punch is just a fucking broken move. Hitmontop, world champ, really good fucking Pokemon, great support fighting type. It's one of the best fighting types of all time. Fake out, intimidate, close combat, tons of fucking support moves like helping hand and stuff. Hitmontop's amazing. The legendary dogs are fucking great. Entei is super good. Entei was really good in Gen 8. It was a great like Sun counter. Sun was just super good in Gen 8 with like Rinya Sun with like Charizard and Venusaur. Entei just fucking shut that shit down. Inner focus, stops Intimidate. This is a really good Pokemon. You got access to like Max Rockfall to just nuke Charizard and can also like kill Venusaur with a Max Flare. It was just like the Sun counter in Gen 8. Raikou was really good on rain teams also in Gen 8 because they got the move Scald. It used to have Scald, so like it used to be really good on rain. It would get Max Geyser, it would get Thunder in the rain. Raikou was really good. Also, pretty much Raikou's just good in rain back then, just even without Scald. It was really fast electric type, can get screens. Got, Thunder in the rain. Really good electric type back in the day. Suicune is like a really fucking bulky tailwind setter. It's not priority tailwind like Murkrow. Murkrow is one of the best tailwind setters. Before Tornadus got added in Gen 9, like Murkrow was fucking everywhere. It's the fucking prankster tailwind Pokemon. Like that's pretty much all it does, but like Murkrow is good. Prankster tailwind's just good. Politoed, also one of the best rain Pokemon. Like you also have Pelipper. Pelipper is more of like an offensive rain setter because it gets Stab Hurricane, but Palitoad gets like Perish Song and a bunch of like support moves. It's kind of like a defensive rain setter. Azumarill is really good. Azumarill is a super good Pokemon. Obviously, when Gen 2 came out, it didn't have the Fairy typing, but once it got the Fairy typing, Azumarill started. Yeah, it was different. Different fucking beast. Huge power on that thing. It's a monster. Or if you want to use Parasong Azumarill, Sapsiper is also really good. That was also been viable throughout VGC as well. None of the starters are good and competitive at all. The legendaries, Lugia, Ho-Oh, totally get outclassed. Not very good either. Then definitely, like in restricted formats, you don't really use Gen 2 Pokemon, like really at all. There's a lot of really good Pokemon here for like smaller formats, which we call like regional formats, because that's like the base game format. But before, that's like before they started added like Pokemon Home, and like once the later, a lot of more Pokemon start filling the decks. Uh, that's mostly when these Gen 2 Pokemon shine, like Murkrow. Murkrow is just like worse than Tornadus, stuff like that, for example. But Generation 2 really just gets shitted on later in the game's lifespan once you start getting restricted and stuff. Like, none of these Pokemon really get used. Maybe except for Porygon. Porygon is an amazing Trick Room setter. Kind of totally forgot about him sneaking back here. Porygon also really dominant in Gen 8. Was fucking everywhere. Trick Room is just so bulky. Eviolite Porygon's really good for Trick Room. But overall, Generation 2, probably at the bottom of the list. Probably the worst competitive gen. At least like bottom 2 or 3. It's not super great, but it does have some highlights, but it's not too good.